Thank you so much for attending this session. And my name is Andro Kull. I'm actually came from Estonia, and trying to explain a little bit different approach during this session, because I assume that somehow you are already certified, have a knowledge about information security management systems. Please raise your hand who is certified, at least some of. So mostly you are. So the main approach I'm actually using is that I'm not trying to explain to you what integrated management system approach is, but more I am trying to present how to explain integrated management system approach to the client. This pretty much started this concept before I've engaged with BCB or other certification bodies. So this is pretty much based on my own experiences. And the really good starting point is that executives of the clients are actually asking me not directly about certification schemes, but they are actually going to ask, please provide me some assurance that me as a manager are making good decisions, I am hiring good people, they are doing good work, so I can be assured that no bad things are happening for my organization. So this is pretty much as a starting point, and as the time is coming, more and more questions about this are actually rising. That first thing the organizations want to get is the assurance. They are not maybe able to point out what they actually need. Is it IT security or information security, maybe cyber security, maybe a little bit disaster recovery, maybe it's more this IT service quality. All those things are not well known, and those we are start talking about this assurance. So one definition is pointed here. So I'm clarifying that let's agree that assurance is something like independent professional service. So me as a service provider, I am independent. I try to be a professional because I have some knowledge about it. I have experiences. I have certified myself. So I'm actually proposing this professional managed services. And the main goal for the management staff is to actually improve information, cybersecurity, in context so that the same decision makers or managers are doing better decisions. And then we are able to describe what the organization has to do, what I am able to provide as an assurance service. So the main discussion point for today is a concept. This is definitely not any standard-based approach. This is not written down in some frameworks, but this is more like my own experiences I'm trying to use in explaining how the things are connected with each other, what things have to be considered to actually get this assurance. And then we can more detailed discuss what is the certification schemes, all those things. So pretty good starting point all the time is that there are some requirements for the security, or at least there are some expectations. So this is what is possible to actually discuss with client management also, that some expectation exist. They may come externally from laws, regulations. There may be internal security expectations. They may be taken from agreements. So definitely it's possible to reach at least some way of security expectation. And then is quite a normal question that, okay, we have considered that some requirements are there. We have to be secure in order to run our business. So what we have to do? So this is what is actually asked, that, so what we have to do in considering information cybersecurity, maybe business continuity. So please provide me some ideas how to actually proceed. And then I am actually saying that, okay, let's stop here. Let's try to better understand what pieces of this full system have to be put it together to actually lead us to the appropriate actions. So, and in this case, I am actually proposing that let's try to understand what are the main profiles for your organization. So then it goes to the left side. So I don't have better wording, but profile is good enough. How things actually are happening inside the organization. So the main profile as a starting point for each management system is how the business actually runs. So what is the business profile? And then it's really easy to discuss what are the main business processes, what are the most critical ones, what is the mission, what is the vision. Many cases I'm using this business process modeling also to actually show what the business is. And then we are able to proceed with data handling. So in many cases, this business actually says what kind of data is used, what is the business secrecy, what are the main data sets, and then it only goes to the how we are actually keeping this data. So we are discussing IT solutions, how they are built up, maybe we are reaching some technical person, what is the IT infrastructure, all those things. So business process, then it goes to the data, we are understanding what is the value of data, then it goes to the technical side, how the data is kept. And also in many cases it assumes that not only IT solutions are there. There may be also operational technology, for example. There may be some industrial control systems involved. So this is what we are actually trying to reach, what is the profile. So let's call it IT, but assume that it may be some more bigger approach. And then it goes actually how you are governing or managing your IT, all this technical side. So at least bigger companies, they have some separate IT manager who is dealing, for small organization there is only one IT specialist, IT may be also outsourced, so who is actually taking care that IT is working correctly. So the data is handled and business processes are actually supported. And if this is clear also, what is the organization profile, then we are reaching that, okay, we can consider some risks connected with the data and connected with IT solutions. And this is the approach we have to understand. So one good solution is to discuss what has happened so far. If there are some cyber incidents there, maybe it leads to the higher risk. If there is some data leak or people are doing the mistakes all the time, sending data unencrypted, all those things may be considered here. And this, if this is also clear that in many cases we are considering that there is no risk assessment at all. So pretty much no understanding how it works, how it should work. Then I'm actually reaching the the first goal for me as a service provider, so that this is what actually needs some attention. So I am able to provide some consultancy, all those things which may occur. Okay, somehow the risks are also clear, and risk assessment is only needed to make good risk decisions and lead us to the good control side. Once again, we can call it as a IT control, it may be physical control, some organizational control, cybersecurity control, information security control. So all those things are somehow applicable. So let's take really broad understanding that all which is somehow connected with this IT and information is put it here. So at least some controls have to be there. So this is most cases assumption, that at least you are somehow managing your accesses. So not all the employees are administrators in computers. So some basic things may be already there, and we can discuss what is the profile, so what is already there, and then we are able to make decisions how to actually proceed. Then it goes to the pretty much IT compliance side. So, and this may be really connected with the obligations for IT security. So it basically, it goes back to the what are the requirements. If there are some internal audit reports, external audit reports, some ad hoc audits for security are done, or something which may lead that what is the level of compliance. And once again, if nothing is done, I am able to propose that we are going to make some compliance assessment, maybe some audit. So this is the possibility there. So definitely, many times discussed during this conference also that even if other things are somehow covered, the organization have to be ready for incidents. So at least some understanding who is getting the incident report, who is actually taking some incident response activities. If there is nothing, once again, we are proceeding with more concrete actions, how to ensure that incidents are identified, responded correctly, all those necessary things. Yeah, and then it goes to the continuity side that we are able to discuss besides the security, also continuity. And most consideration is that you may have those IT-related risks, which may lead to the continuity issues, and in worst case scenario, you have so big losses that you are not able to proceed with the business process. So definitely some continuity has to be included. So it's really good to explain to the organizations who are under financial supervision. I have many experiences with that. So it's pretty much that if you are doing nothing for security, then the continuity problem may be that you are losing the license. So this is actually stopping your business. For example, being a bank. You are trying to run a bank in Estonia, I think in other countries also. So if you are not able to show the due diligence that security is important, it may lead to the continuity issues and lose the license. So inside the profile, there has to be something. It may be some documentation, some policy, some everyday routine, what is made, but definitely something has to be there. No, and more practically, we are trying to also explain what is between the profiles, how the things are practically connected. So I'm just proposing here some examples I have used, maybe familiar. So definitely between business and data handling, there has to be some data classification, data labeling. All those things may be taken from ISO standards also. So this is actually shows how the business process is connected with the data, and also shows what is the value of the data. If the classification shows that this is really confidential information used for this business process, so it gets more higher level security requirement. And if you are putting the same data into IT world, into one database, it means that the database has to be protected accordingly. And definitely this database has to be in some server, so the server is getting the security requirement. Server is connected with a network, access management, all other things. So basically this is how the value is going further. So classification labeling, it's really easy to explain. That this is the way how to connect the things. So another is data handling, IT. Definitely we can talk about business impact analysis. The same that if the server is not working correctly, what is the business impact for that? So it means the server is not working, the application is not working, database is not working, and then you are not able to handle the data, get the necessary information for business processes, and then there is the impact definitely there. Yeah, and in many cases, really practical thing, maybe some service level agreements. So we are considering that at least the business and data handling is more done by business side. And if the service level agreement is done with the IT, then it goes to the more IT side. But once again, the same data value has to go through the service level agreements. So some ideas what to put between IT and IT governance. No, so let's try some ITIL approach, for example, because many organizations are using this. At least some normal IT processes, how the IT environment is actually governed. Yeah, but there may be also some capability maturity model, how good IT is actually managed. Maybe another really interesting things maybe to discuss is the total cost of ownership. So the management wants to be sure that they are putting the resources for IT, and IT is actually supporting the business. So what is the total cost of ownership, return on investments, all those things may be considered here. For the management, if you are wasting too much resources for keeping this, I don't know, really simple, small IT environment, it may be indicated that things are not correctly. So, but definitely some possibilities there. Then it goes from the IT governance to the IT risk side. So definitely we can consider some monitoring possibilities here. So the IT environment is monitored so that we are able to understand if the risk is already happened or we are really close to the risk side. We are able to use some indicators which show that some technical things are happening. We are able to use some key risk indicators, some single point of failures, for example. I've considered in practical life the same single point of failure here is really good to actually discuss. Because in many cases it has considered that if you are going through this IT infrastructure, then you can find that all the network is depending on one critical network device. So if something happens, then the full network is down. So this is pretty much the idea, what are the practical possibilities there. Yeah, definitely, if the risks are assessed, we are able to make some risk decisions. So basically, what we are able to accept, what we have to somehow manage. Then it goes to the risk management decisions and prepare for the security controls. From security economic side, it's really interesting thing to discuss with the management also. So what they are expecting is the return on security investment. If you are putting this money also here, because this is really practical thing. So return on security investments, if there are some expectations there, and it had to be considered before the controls plan is actually completed and proposed. So you actually have to go back to the management side and say that you have to spend some resources for the security, otherwise it's not going to be implemented. So from control side to the compliance side, it may be some information security management system operations. If the processes are actually working, it's possible to get evidence for that. And if the evidence is good, you are assume that compliance is there. Some key performance indicators definitely can be used. So if there are so many complaints from business side that systems are slow, or there is a big miss with suspicious emails, then it's indicator that things are actually not running good. If the compliance is also there, it is only part of assurance for the management side. So we have to consider that compliance doesn't mean that you have getting 100% assurance that things are not happening. So you are able to do some extra security testing to actually raise this assurance level. So the management may be interested if their web-based applications are vulnerable for known vulnerabilities. So the possible to actually confirm is to run some dedicated testing, some forensic, use some security audit for those things. So the possibilities are actually there, and there are possibilities we are able to make before the incidents are there. Not so that let's wait until the incidents are there, but it is more proactive that you are able to actually run those tests and audit beforehand. And only the incidents are there, so the part of incident management profile have to be some good response. There are incident response team, all those things may be discussed. And before it goes to the continuity side, we have some business continuity, disaster recovery planning. So in many cases, I think also during the PCP courses, it is explained that business continuity is more business side, disaster recovery is more IT side. So if this is a good approach, we can use it. So what is the main information system recovery plan, how quickly we are able to actually recover all these RTOs, RPOs are explained there. And this is really good approach to actually go back to the business side and ask if they are happy with those RTOs, RPOs. So basically, it has to be as a circle. And then it goes to the business side and say that right now, our profile is set so that we are able to get the main systems back after 2 working days, for example. Then it has to be a management decision. Is it good for the business or bad for the business? If this is bad for the business, you are actually going and improve the necessary profiles. So this is the idea. We are going to discuss this with management. So also really important is what kind of roles have to be implemented or active in doing those things, so actually operating the profile so that things are aligned. And many possibilities are there. So from business side, the main role here is Chief Executive Officer. You can also explain them that it's not possible to build up good management system if the top management is not making the necessary decisions. So they have some definite role there, especially considering what is the context of the organization, discuss with legal side what are the requirements, make decisions about what risks are going to be expected. So there are definitely really clear role here if you are going more management system side. Definitely some chief information officer, some data protection officer, whatever it's called. Is more business side roles who are actually able to understand what is the business need for data protection, what is the value of data in terms of confidentiality, integrity, availability. There may be new GDPR is there, what is the value of personal data? If this is not secured, what are the consequences, what are the risks? So this is how it may be discussed. So the next one may be some chief technology officer, whatever the name is, IT manager may be appropriate, maybe IT chief specialist in smaller organization. So any kind of more technology related person have to be there. Yeah, and also it's really good to discuss using this approach that if the organization is going to reach the risk management side. So especially bigger organizations, they have some separate risk managers. Then it's possibility to actually manage the risk so that you are not automatically jumping to the control side. Let's put more controls. But there is possible also go to the IT side. Let's make some modifications there. For example, if this some certain technology is causing a big risk for the organization, it may be a good decision that let's make changes in technical side. Let's do not use anymore this risky technical thing, and then we are able to better achieve the security results. So definitely some security officer, maybe chief information security officer, maybe some separate cybersecurity officer. So this may have to be explained at least with those persons. What is the IT control? What is the information security control? What is the cybersecurity control? And those persons on those roles actually have to have some understanding about that. Then it goes to the more oversight and auditing side. Some chief internal auditing, chief information system auditor maybe has a good role here. So actually ensures that controls which are decided to implement are actually implemented and helping to achieve the security results. And then maybe some separate role for business continuity management. So if this is the case, continuity is really important, then it's possibility to add this separate role also here. And only then, if we have those roles are here, we have some profiles, then we can reach that. Maybe standardized approach is good. It may be truth, it may be wrong, but at least this is one option, because the standards are already there. There are many of standards for different things. So we are able to use some quality standards, some IT-related standards, some data management-related standards. Definitely for risk management, for security management, all those possibilities are there. We can also reach the incident management because there is separate standard. So it's not really expensive. This is already there. It's possible to use. So me as an consultant, actually, I am able to propose that this may be approach. And this is the idea if the organization is still struggling that what, for example, this IT contrast profile has to be. Then I am able to propose that you can use this 002 standard. Most of you know what it is, the set of information security controls, good enough to use, to actually build up the internal profile. It may be some other, but standard is already there, so you're able to use it immediately. So, and 27033 35 is dealing with incidents, but you can consider also here that you are assuming that a lot of cybersecurity risks are there. Risks are open for the organization, so you are proposing here this 27032 standard, which is dealing with cybersecurity management. So this is the idea behind those standards, because you, as a consultant, you are able to propose many possibilities, considering what is the organizational need. Yeah, definitely continuity management may follow regarding the ISO 22300 standard. So this is already there. I can propose this. And mainly to answer the question, so what you are proposing, what our profile has to be or may be. So standardized approach is good to actually proceed here. Yeah, and definitely we are trying to reach some real processes also. So we are assuming that business process is all the time there, business is up and running. Then it goes to the information management. This is happening every day. So pretty much the process view. So we are understanding that inside the profile there may be a procedure how to do it. But this procedure has to be implemented, put it into real life, then it goes to the process. Otherwise there is no need to deal with procedure. So more like inside profile, it's written down how the things has to go, and then it goes to the real life processes, how the things are actually happening. Yeah, and all the others also. So IT process, how it actually works. Once again, it has to be all the time there. It's 27 services which have to be up and running all the time. You have to consider that IT processes are running in the same way. So some risk analysis, risk communication has to be all the time there, because the new things are coming in. Some things are not so critical anymore, so the changes all the time in risk side also. Then it goes to how the controls are actually working, what are the findings the auditors are going to make. So this is pretty much the ongoing process. Then it goes to the incident management. If the preparation is made inside the profile, so we can assume that things are happening in real life. So the incident management process have to be up and running all the time. Yeah, and business continuity also. So we are considering that the situation is not so bad that we have to recover all the time. So basically, it's pretty much the firefight. But more this process means that we are really We have a lot of assurance that if we need this business continuity plan or disaster recovery plan, this is actually working and it's possible to use for crisis management. So we are running some regular tests for this security planning. In more technical level, the tests are more frequent, so this may be approach for business continuity process. Yeah, and only then, if things are done correctly, we are reaching the owner, partner, contractor, regulator, whatever it may be, to actually show that things are done correctly. And the last one here, we can reach some specialist, administrator, project management level. Those are people who are actually doing the concrete actions every day to run those predetermined process. And if I'm using this approach, I really see the good opportunity here to proceed with partnership with PCB also. So it's really clear that I can discuss with the management all these things. As a consultant, I can assess how the things are working. I can act as an auditor, but in partnership with PCB, I am able to propose the training and certification for the necessary roles. This is one business opportunity for me. And the second one definitely is that I am able to propose some certification audit for those actual processes. So this is pretty much, I started some 10 years ago, more concentrating on this side, many questions. So for example, please provide me consultancy how to create a disaster recovery plan for this certain system. Please help me with risk assessment template. Please review our IT infrastructure, try to find some single point of failures. Please go through our controls list and say if we are in compliance with necessary regulations or not. So this is pretty much I have done during last 10 years. And now I am actually proposing that we can proceed the same way, but trying to reach at a higher level. I am able to propose these certification schemes for different roles, certification audits for management systems. So this is what is a possibility from my side to actually improve the service and the quality, to give the assurance back to the organization. Any other questions? So then, thank you very much to be here, and